and welcome to the Real Life with Ridah Khan. Thank you very much, Emily, for joining me right here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm all right. Yeah, just a little bit jet lagged, but I'm good otherwise.
So you've come from India.
I have.
How has your experience in India been and how long were you there for?
Yeah, it was really great. I think the press received, the film quite well, and everyone's pretty excited about it. They want a little bit of change in content in India, and so you see a lot of the masala films that people used to get super excited for. That type of audience is moving over towards content driven films and series for that matter. So I think that people are pretty excited for it, especially because it's about stories of their unsung heroes from their own communities. And yeah, it's just been perceived well, knock on wood. And I hope the audience loves it, once the film is out.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, a lot of people are into usually the masala films, and this film seems almost like a motivational film. It's such an inspiring story based on a true story. What made you want to bring the story to the forefront, and especially using rugby, which hasn't been seen in Bollywood? Usually it's a bit
Yeah.
football, cricket has been seen, but not rugby.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, cricket, like you said, is so big in India as well as kabaddi, right? Kabaddi's like
Yeah,
one of their biggest sports there.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's everyone's reaction. They're like, rugby, really? But with that being said, that it's more than a rugby film. It's about these children who came from nothing and had nothing. They didn't have shoes, they didn't have equipment, they didn't even have the proper balls to play with, that were playing these sports, and they were, they're tribal kids, so they're very rough and they're very tough and they're very, very strong. I mean, if you see these boys, you'll see that they're different than your average Indian. Your Delhiite that you would think of is so different than the tribal boys that are from Odia or Odisha for that matter, sorry. And so yeah, I just think that, with them being of that nature, it made sense for them to play rugby. And Sir Paul Walsh, who was from the English embassy, had come over and seen them play kabaddi and play soccer or football for that matter. And he was just so impressed by their agility, their strength, their speed. And so that's when he was like, I want to teach them how to play rugby. And in fact, in 4 months is a Junior World Rugby Cup in England, and I want to take them to compete. And so that's where the whole idea came from and the opportunity came from for these boys.
Yeah, no, that's great. And coming to you, Emily. Emily, you've been brought up with your father has actually been in the entertainment industry, right?
Yeah.
I've heard, just correct me if I'm wrong, just in case, that you're half Indian and half Scottish.
Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me? Yeah, yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
you said I'm half Indian and
Half Scottish.
yep, that's
So
correct.
that's
Yeah.
right. So I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, blending both these cultures, how have you been able to blend both of them, and how close have you been to the Indian culture growing up and even now?
Yeah, my parents were very fair in the sense where they wanted to teach me both about their traditions, their cultures, their religions, and they never made me once feel like I had to pick one or over the other. They were more than happy that I celebrated both and honored both in my own special ways. And so yeah, I grew up in this mixed household, but because I grew up with my ba and my dadu, I learned actually Gujarati first as well as English, and then I learned Hindi. And so I was always a lot closer to my Indian side than I guess you would say my white side for that matter. And my
Yeah.
mom was always super supportive, even though she was, Gori, she was always watching Bollywood films with me, and she was always very supportive in the sense where she wanted me to even enter Bollywood. I mean,
You
from
really
when I was,
integrated into the culture.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she would like my ba would cook, like fancy nushak and dal tadka and stuff like that. And she would eat all of it. Like she prefers to eat Indian food. So she's very, she's more Indian than me, I would say. But
Oh, that's great.
yeah, she's very supportive in that sense.
No, that's really great. So, like you said, like your mom wanted you to enter Bollywood. Well, how do you see Bollywood? Did you ever? You've got made this film in Bollywood, but it's not like you said a quintessential Bollywood film. But have you ever wanted to do like a mainstream Bollywood film, with the likes of like Salman or Shah Rukh Khan, and having all of those lehengas and wedding songs? Or what? How do you foresee yourself in the industry, or do you prefer like substance and different types of films, or do you prefer to work in America?
I'm open to everything. Like I said, because I grew up in such a diverse family, and I had that access to both cultures and both types of content. It's never, for me, it's never been like, oh, I want to be a Bollywood actress or I want to be a Hollywood actress. For me, acting is just acting at the end of the day. So whether that is in Bollywood or Hollywood or South films or Gujarati films or even Chinese films, you know, I'm open to all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because I can speak Hindi and Gujarati, it's a lot easier for me to enter Bollywood and even Gujarati films. But yeah, I don't really like to label myself as one or the other. I'm kind of just an actress, and take that, you know, as you will.
Yeah. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from filming and working on Jungle Cry? And you have quite an active part in Jungle Cry and creating and bringing it. You know, so you also act, but you also are a producer. So what is the
Yeah.
biggest lesson that you've learned?
You know, I think with Jungle Cry specifically, I think like the one of the biggest lessons that I took away as an actor was that a lot of the times when you create a film or a series together, sometimes you and your castmates kind of that friendship or that bond that you guys share on set tends to die down quite a bit. And the one thing that was so refreshing about Jungle Cry was that the boys that are a part of the film that are the rugby players, they're rugby players actually. They're not actors. We taught them how to be actors, and we taught them the ins and outs of, you know, how to be on set and things like that. So they're just, you know, almost, I mean, I know everybody's a regular human being, but they're so normal in that sense where they're not, you know, acting driven, or, you know, they don't have this like creative side to them or an artist type of side to them. And I think sometimes when you are digging deep into that, you can kind of lose sight of your connections or your friendships in that sense. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing that I love the most about Jungle Cry is the fact that I was able to keep in contact with these boys still to this day. Like I was just on a call with all of them this morning on Zoom. And that's really refreshing because you don't really get that with a lot of actors on set.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it takes a lot of work, you know, to be part of a film, then to promote that film, to get that film, you know, to be produced or get the right outlet for it, and to be traveling, like, you know, from India to England to America, different zones. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you like, no, I want to, you know, some, like, there'll be some girls, honestly, I think it's really important for girls to hear this, because there'll be a lot of girls be like, oh, I just want to have a lie and I just want to stay at home. Oh, I would like to do it, but I can't be bothered. And people have this mentality. It takes a lot more energy to really go out there and be like, no, I want to do this. And you come across like you have that energy and motivation and fire in you. And where does that stem from? Especially on those days when it's just like, oh, why am I doing this? Is it worth it? And you're questioning yourself.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I definitely have those days, but I think, you know, something that my mom taught me is that talent is nothing without hard work. So if you put in that hard work, then only your talent can shine. Without hard work, your talent is kind of just talent that you keep to yourself. So it goes hand in hand. If you want your talent to reach an audience and you want people to see your abilities and your skills, you have to put in that time and you have to invest in yourself, because at the end of the day, if you don't invest in yourself, then why should others invest in you? So I think that's the
really
biggest
important.
key.
If you don't invest in yourself, why should others invest in you? It's almost like if you don't love yourself, then who else is going to love you, right?
100%. Exactly.
So when you are relaxing and not busy and out and about, what do you like to do?
I love working out. Honestly, I haven't been able to work out in a couple of days.
That sounds like labor and work as well.
No, you know what? Working out just gives me an outlet to kind of like let go and, you know, have this connection with my body and what my body needs. And that's super important as an actor to give yourself that, because you're kind of giving, whether it's to a character or to a director or to the audience or to the press. So I think that self-care is also comes in that form of working out and taking care of your health and your mental health. And it just gives me an outlet. Like I love boxing and I love weightlifting. And I think that
so
kind
you
of
actually really like go for it. I was gonna say, are you a cardio girl? Are you weights girl? I didn't know you like boxing.
Yeah, I love boxing. And I think like getting that energy out, or, you know, sometimes you feel that rage from set, or you feel that rage from, you know, press, or you're like, why did that reporter ask me this question? Or like, why didn't I nail this scene? And having an outlet is always really good for your health and and having a good outlet for that matter, you know, a vice that is healthy.
And
So I really do love working out. I love spending time with my dog. I rescued a dog during the pandemic. So I do love spending time with her, and then my partner as well. I mean, times where we can just be at home and not do anything and just binge watch a series are some of my favorite days. So
and if your partner is also part of the entertainment industry,
yeah.
do you feel like it makes you understand each other a little bit more? Are you also more on the healthy? I know he's vegan or some, right? Vegan,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
He's plant-based. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does definitely help because he understands what my schedule is like, and he understands how important certain situations are, or certain, aspects of this industry can be, and vice versa. It definitely helps to have a partner that already gets what this whole thing is about.
Yeah, and so it builds a strong foundation. And
Exactly.
I would also like to ask you, coming back to self-care, Emily, what do you think are those certain things that people can do, that our audience are watching, in order to, like, incorporate self-care? Because it's sometimes people lose themselves in their job, or just really, making time for their loved ones, and they just don't have the importance of self-care as much, or they just don't know where to start and what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I do think a lot of people kind of navigated that through the pandemic, what's important at the end of the day. And I think you have to ask yourself that, like, what do you want out of life? Like, what is life to you? When all is said and done, will you look back and say, yeah, I did everything that I wanted to do? And it could be little things like, taking a day off for yourself to go hiking, or taking a day off to yourself to just sit at home and sit on the couch and do nothing and just listen to music or something. So you kind of have to ask yourself, like, what's important to you, not society, or not what your parents want or anybody else wants, because at the end of the day, you have to sleep and wake up with yourself, and you've got to live with yourself, right? So you've got to find what's important to you. And obviously doing what you love is part of self-care, whether that's painting or going rollerblading or bowling, or again, just sitting at home. Like, you've got to figure out what is important to you. And then again, part of self-care is, or self-love for that matter, is taking care of your health and your mind.
Yeah.
So, instead of, I don't know, investing in bottle service for the weekend, maybe invest in a trainer.
Yeah.
Invest in a workout class, like, get your friends together and you all take a workout class, like, make it a fun thing, so that way it doesn't feel like it's a chore or feel like it's a drag.
Yeah. And generally speaking, Emily, relationships are always important. If you're on a film set, being able to get along with everyone, to work as a team, dream team, also in your personal life. What do you think is the key of making relationships? So a lot of people, even when it comes to romantic relationships, it's all really nice in the beginning. And then,
Yeah.
when the issues come, we had a lot of miscommunication, or this happened, or that happened. Sometimes it's not even
Yeah.
something major. It's just little things that, the cracks will start to show. So
Yeah.
from your life experience and experience of obviously working in showbiz, having to work with a lot of people, what do you think is the key?
Um, I mean, there's so many keys that are important, but I would say probably having your boundaries, your happy boundaries, your negative boundaries. I think setting those boundaries with the people that you're around is really important. And I also think a lot of give and take, right? In any relationship, whether that's on set or in your personal
Compromise
relationship.
word comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of compromise for sure, but not in a sense that you're uncomfortable,
Yeah.
because that's not what compromise is.
No, that's exactly true. Okay, before we go, I just wanted to ask you one last question. Why do you think is the main reason everyone should get up and go and watch Jungle Cry?
I love this because I have the perfect answer. I've been saying it never. Your son is sick of hearing me saying this, but anyway, the main reason why people should go and watch Jungle Cry is because studios, and I call them corporations because that's what they are, but these large studios and corporations are going to continue making films that have the numbers. And when I say numbers, I don't only mean box office numbers, but I also mean streaming numbers, because that's the digital age that we live in. So if they continue to see that these numbers are rising, whether that means financial numbers or viewing numbers, they're going to continue to make those types of content. So of course you have, Marvel films and Fast and Furious films that just knock it out of the park. And I'm not talking down on them because I used to work on those sets as a production assistant. And of course they're going to do well. They're larger than life franchises that have, provenly done well time after time. However, on the same token, if people go and support this film and they go and actually watch it and invest in it and tell people, you know, get the word out there, and people do watch it, whether it's on streaming or, you know, in the box office, then it will get the attention and eyes of these people at these studios, at these high level, you know, rankings at the studios. And they might think, hey, this is the stuff that people want to watch. This is a type of content that's doing well. We need to make more films like this. So you will start to see more films of these unsung heroes from, you know, smaller communities that are getting their stories being told. And so I just think it's so important for the audience to understand that. And I think once you understand that, then it's kind of, you're going to be a little bit more mindful about what you choose to watch and what you don't choose to watch or support, for that matter.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm always up for a motivational story. I really think it's so important, because I always think you take something from a film. You know, when you watch a depressing film, you come out feeling a bit sad, or if you feel like,
Yeah.
or watch a comedy, feel lighthearted, you want to watch a film. And I think celebrating unsung heroes is so important, inspirational. It will make that one person feel like, oh, maybe I can do that, or, you know, there's the chance for me as well, which is really, really important. So I really wish all the best for Jungle Cry. I'm really glad a story like this is being made. It's been an absolute pleasure, Emily. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Your traveling schedule, you have come as a natural beauty on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, you gotta love the skin you're in, right? If you don't, then
no, and
that's not self-love.
You're absolutely like a testament of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.